The big question at the moment is what is next for the British pound? Over the last few weeks, the pound has hit all-time record lows. The only other time we saw lows hit like this was back in like the 1980s during the Falklands War and when Maggie Thatcher was in charge. However, the pound has approached the lows and has been propped up by the Bank of England at the moment. But once the Bank of England stops propping up the currency, what is next for the pound? Will we see a crash? What's going to happen? We're going to go over the fundamentals and the technicals in today's video. So without further ado, let's jump into it. But if you guys want to carry on and enjoy this free content, make sure you leave a like on this video. Show me that you want to keep getting this free content. And if you find any value from this content, make sure you give it a like because it really does help me out and it does help the channel out. And it doesn't cost anything just to leave a like. It doesn't cost you anything and it really does help the channel out. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, subscribe to the channel because there'll be plenty more videos on this in the near future. Now, what is the Bank of England doing to prop up the currency? This is the most important part about this story and where the pound is heading next. Essentially, the Bank of England turned around a couple of weeks ago and said they're going to start purchasing government bonds again. Now, this artificially inflated the price of the pound, pushing the pound against the US dollar upwards. And the reason why the Bank of England stepped in to actually buy these government bonds was, in fact, to push the markets back up and to stabilize the markets. This was because the pound was trading against the lowest it's ever traded against the US dollar. This was not good for the economy of the United Kingdom. This was not good for the currency. So the Bank of England needed to intervene in order to keep the currency propped up. So what did they do? They started buying government bonds again. However, this was only a temporary fix from the Bank of England. They mentioned on the 14th of October, they will stop buying government bonds. And as you know, that is later on this week. So the big question is, what is next for the pound? And unfortunately, the news doesn't really get any better because the other day, Liz Truss mentioned that she's going to be doing a mini budget. This was to slash income tax. So if you are on more than 150k a year, or it's either 100k or 150k, you get taxed 45% on your earnings. However, she wanted to take away 5%, so you only get taxed 40%. This was to try and draw big whale money spenders into the British economy, so they would start spending and it would be like a trickle down effect. The big boys start spending all the money on the clothes, on the meals out, and then that would obviously have an effect on the lower parts of the economy, on the lower budget people, because that would then pay for their jobs. However, this didn't work and it was probably one of the worst mini budgets ever announced, and the currency actually fell off a cliff after this announcement. So what happened next? They reversed the tax cuts. Now, what's still unclear about all of this is we don't know where the pound's going next. So the big reason why the pound has been able to make so many gains over the last couple of weeks is because the Bank of England stepped in. However, once they unstep themselves from the puddle that they've stepped in, what's going to happen for the pound? Some economics have actually predicted that it can be a worse plunge for the pound. That would also then lead to the Bank of England stepping back in when prices hit the previous lows that we've just come from. So what to do with the pound? Essentially, don't trade it. Do not trade the pound at the moment because there's so much uncertainty. I do believe that potentially there is time for gains because the USA have basically turned around and said they don't care about a recession. Well, they don't not care about a recession. They obviously do care about a recession, but they are more focused on bringing inflation down as opposed to a recession. And they don't care if it's a soft landing or a hard landing. They just want to bring those inflation numbers down. This could potentially lead the US dollar to weaken, which could then catapult the pound upwards. However, the pound would need to have a fundamental catalyst to push it upwards. And if we don't have that, like the Bank of England stepping in, unfortunately, the pound may be going to pot with the US dollar. But if you did like this video, like the video. And if you want to see more, subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts and theories down in the comment section below. It's also worth mentioning that I do offer a mentorship, a full mentorship program where we go over fundamentals, where we go over all of these sorts of things in the mentorship. We go over technicals, fundamentals, definitely worth buying if you are interested. Head over to my email. It will be down in the description and in the comment section below, findingforex@gmail.com. Get in contact with me to get signed up to the mentorship.